What's up, everybody? I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and welcome to The Right Mindset. Today, I'm going to go over overcoming writer's block, tips, techniques, and strategies. So basically, whether you're a seasoned wordsmith or just starting on your writing career, you have probably encountered the infamous writer's block. But fear not. In this lesson, we'll explore what writer's block is, and more importantly, how to conquer your writer block battlefield. Remember, writer's block is a hurdle, not a dead end. So hit that intro. Oh, yeah. Woo. If you didn't leave because of that crazy singing, but you're a beginner or an advanced writer and you really like what you've seen on these videos, but you haven't done so already, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. Let's get right to it, because I know writer's block can be very, very aggravating. That notorious roadblock in the creative journey is a common and often frustrating experience for all writers of all levels. It's essential to demystify this phenomenon and understand it much better. And I will say this before we really get into it. Somebody once asked me, Thomas, isn't a writing career difficult because you have to wait for inspiration? I go, I get paid to be inspired, not paid to wait until I'm inspired. Because ultimately, when someone hires you, like a client, or you're ghostwriting, or you're even writing your own stuff on a deadline, you're being paid to write, not paid to ultimately find inspiration. And a lot of the stuff we're going to go over today will show you how to break through any of those hesitations or restrictions. And these are little tips and tricks that will break the white screen syndrome, like where you're just staring at it. So you yourself can be like, writer's block, never heard of it, and move on. So first and foremost, let's define what writer's block is. At its core, writer's block is a condition where a writer struggles to generate new content or experience a significance in idea generation, which ultimately slow down the writing process. It's like hitting a wall, and it can manifest in various ways, from staring at a blank page for hours or feeling creatively exhausted. So why does writer's block happen, though? Well, they say that writer's block is not a reflection of your talent or creativity. Because you can't get it out doesn't mean you're not a writer or good. It's more like a crossroads where your creativity needs a moment to recharge or find new direction. I love the new direction thing. That's one of my secrets, because I can't just take a break. But the new direction is important. Sometimes I'm exhausted, but I have to get my pages in, or I have to get my outlines in, or I have to do whatever I have to do for myself or clients. So it's all about finding those new directions, and we'll go into that. But there are several common reasons why writer's block will occur, and sometimes it's internal. Perfectionism. Striving for perfection in your writing can lead to self-criticism and anxiety, making it difficult to produce anything. 2, fear of failure. The pressure to meet high expectations, either self-imposed or external, can create a fear of failure that stifles creativity. 3, overwhelm. Complex projects or looming deadlines can overwhelm writers, causing them to freeze under the pressure. But 4, burnout. That's right. Continuous writing without breaks can lead to burnout, leaving you mentally exhausted and creatively drained. This is why I only write in 90 to 2 hour block times. So the least amount of time I'll work on physically writing is 60 minutes. The most I'll write is 2 hours. When I have client work and stuff like that, I give every client an hour. But if I have 5 clients, I know that I'm only going to be working on, 2 clients Monday and Tuesday, 2 clients on Wednesday, Thursday, and 2 clients on Friday. So I might rotate the Friday day, but I have that break from that work. So I'm always, but if I work more than 2 hours altogether, and when I say 2, I mean an hour each. So I only do 2 clients a day, right? Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday, that's my time. All right. Number 5, lack of inspiration. Sometimes external factors like stress, life events, or even just a lack of inspiration can contribute to the writer's block. So that brings us to the creative process. It's important to recognize that writers that deal with the writer's block is a natural part of the creative process. Just as seasons change, so does your creativity. There will be highs and lows, and that's honestly perfectly normal. But countless strategies are available to explore. Well, there's no one size fits all, of course. Solutions to writer's block is just filled with a vast toolbox of opportunities. Okay, there are strategies and things that you can try. It might not work for everybody, but one of them might work for you. But anyway, the thing is, don't be afraid to experiment. You want to adapt what you learn as well. So a technique might be one way, but it doesn't mean you can't try that technique and adapt it to work better for you. Just keep that in mind. Here's 5 tips to overcome writer's block. So let's do it. Writer's block might feel like an insurmountable mountain, but with the right tools, you can climb it and continue your creative journey. 1. Free writing. Free writing. I like using this one. But free writing is when the perfectionism inside the brain threatens to halt your progress. Use free writing as a liberating ally, where it's just get it out. This technique encourages you to write without self-censorship or judgment. This is 100% what I do. I set the timer. I put a pen down to paper. Well, technically, fingers to the keyboard. And I let my thoughts flow. I don't worry about the grammar or the structure or coherence, because every great writer has a great editor. And every first draft is not the last draft. And the thing is, I work so hard on my outlines and create such detailed truth to my outlines where it almost looks like a written book. That's why sometimes I consider my final outline really my zero draft, because I do a lot of discovery there too. That's why I consider myself a plotter who pantses, because I plot out my outline, but I pants the extended outline, which ultimately turns into the zero draft, but it's through the beats of my outline. And then I take that, and now when I write, I can free write. I'm just writing based on the beats. I write to the beat, I write in the beat, and then I write out of the beat leading to the next beat within my outline. And that has helped me greatly with when it comes to writer's block, because when I work on an outline, it doesn't, I have no pressure. I could try things, I could delete things. I'm not writing full on prose. I'm not getting descriptive, and really, I'm not worried about immersing anything. I'm just worrying about plot, character, setting. Is everything being presented that needs to be presented in the scene, even if it's like they talk about blank, blank, blank. Now I know when I'm free writing, I need them to talk about that, right? I might even write in there their positions. One person doesn't want this and the other one does. But your goal during the free writing is that your aim is to unlock your creativity by just letting it go. Just let it come out. Okay, you want some ASR? Just let it come out. Okay. I feel relaxed. The second tip for overcoming writer's block is change of environment. That's right. Sometimes a simple change of scenery can work wonders. If you're usually writing in your space, then change it out. Go outside, write in a cafe, maybe find a new nook in your home. New environments can spark fresh inspiration and help. I also do this. That's why I wrote it down and I thought it was a good idea. Is I have I write on my computer mostly, but I also have uh ugh, I got myself one of these things. You know, these what do you call these things, like the tablet. I have a tablet, right? Woo, tablet. And it's connected to my Google Docs because I do everything through Google Docs, or at least uh, the starting process. Um, and also my phone. I have, so all Google Docs is connected everywhere. So at night, if I'm in bed and I have ideas pop up, I'll just start working it. Sometimes when I'm working outlines, what I'll do is on my computer, I'll start with like the most basic thing. So and so has to meet so and so. They're in this city. The goal of this scene is to explore this information. I need to move this plot forward. Also introduce this subplot, and I use a little bit more description than that. I'm just generalizing, and then I'll go upstairs knowing that I'm not going to fall asleep for another hour or so while I'm laying in bed. So I'll just open up my phone and I'll just brainstorm, free brainstorm. I don't, because the next day I'm going to edit it anyway. I'm going to, I might work on it, add to it, or take it away because I don't care. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I've learned that over the years. Trust me, it took a while. I used to be like, I'm not putting anything down unless it's like, I'm going to just play with the idea in my head until it's great. And then, no, if I have an idea, I put it on paper and I work it. And I keep coming up with new ideas to it. And I just blow it up until it's so full that I can start taking away what doesn't work. But the core usually ends up working, which is the whole point. And then you grow from there. But more importantly, if I'm out and about, I have my phone, or when I travel, I use my tablet. It's okay. Sometimes I'll take my tablet and I'll go right by my in my living room because I have a nice little couch, and so it's good to change it up. All right. Number 3, writing prompts. As you know, there is a writing prompt playlist on my channel. Feel free to jump on that. Writing prompts are an excellent tool for jumpstarting your creativity. I don't use writing prompts anymore in the same way writing prompts should be used, which is they provide a starting point and they seed you basically to flush out that idea. It gives you a chance to explore prompts related to your content. But like if I said to you, uh, without even giving names, like, we're like, 2 characters are estranged. However, they're forced to work together to accomplish a set goal. Now you could kind of put that anywhere. You could put it in a romance, an adventure, a thriller, a noir, a mystery, a horror film, or horror idea. I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. You can put it in epic fantasy because it's just a concept. It's a general concept, and then you kind of like put your ideas into that, right? The way I do, what's so nice about prompts is they nudge your mind. You didn't think of that, and it unexpectedly brings you along. If you ever seen Finding Forrester, there's a really great thing where he's like, write out the first paragraph of my story that I wrote, and then keep writing from there, from your own mind. Because sometimes your brain takes ideas and moves them. That's why I say, like, if I wrote an outline and I shared the outline with everyone, and we all wrote our own story just based on that outline, every story would be 100% different, even though the plot or the skeleton of that outline is the same, because our brains all think differently. So it's good to have a writer's prompt. What I do with writer prompts now, because I don't really use them, is when I'm brainstorming, I'll let I really love the first, second, and third plot point beats in my 27 plot outline, which is ordinary world, inciting incident, and reaction to the inciting incident. So that's my writer's prompt. I think of an ordinary world, I challenge it, and then how would it change their life to create the adventure? And those 3 beats usually help me just blow up the beat. And there's plenty of videos, especially on my live videos that I have up. I do that. I've never done an outline on those live videos with pre-work. It's all off the top of the cuff, and they're like an hour long, sometimes an hour and 20 minutes, because I talk and I explain things. But I do that all the time just as an exercise to keep my brain And those prompts that I create through my own brain using those 3 beats have helped me to maintain consistency in my writing. So I don't have to worry about writer's block. And if I do, I know it doesn't matter. So I just make up anything. I'll put the 2 hours in, and I know that it's just the start. So it's not like I'm not allowed to change it. Even if I finished a book and it went through all stages, and at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? I want to add more. Like, you're allowed to. You're allowed to take away and add more. Now, I mean, Frankenstein was published and then republished by the same author, Mary Shelley, after she was like, I'm going to change some stuff up. Tolkien did the same thing with The Hobbit after the Lord of the Rings series was released. He was like, the tone is a little darker on the Lord of the Rings, so I'm going to go back to The Hobbit and change some of the stuff with Schmeagol. Call him. Yeah, reuniting it. And it was re-released. So no, no one's going to judge you. I mean, some people might, but you know what? Okay. 4, mind mapping. Obviously, we know what this is. For those dealing with complex projects or overwhelming plot lines, mind mapping is a powerful organization tool. Start with a central idea or concept and branch out. Create a visual representation of your thought. This technique clarifies your narrative structure, helping you regain control and finding a way through the creative maze. This is what I do with my 27 plot points. I know what each plot point is supposed to satisfy. So when I come up with an idea, especially in the first 3 plot points, I know how to build on that and where to go. I know how to challenge. I look at it and I go, how do I challenge this? And this is the brilliant part. There is no right answer, because whatever you want to do to challenge it. I mean, you could be as straightforward as maybe the ordinary world is, let's just use a romance. A woman is looking for love. She sees her parents in love, and that's just her dream. Is just, she wants a family. She wants to experience the family that she grew up with, because she had like 3 sisters and a brother, and the parent, like, she just loves love. And she meets a guy, and he's everything she wants him to be. So then the reaction to that is that she has hope, right? And this is the crazy part. I can challenge that. I can make it that it turns out that it's all in her head. She's in a coma. And maybe she lived that life. I could go that crazy. Or I could be as simple as they go on a date, and the date goes bad. Every day they try 3 dates and they all go bad. But you know what stays the same? Their appreciation for each other. So despite the ridiculousness of the bad dates, they want to be together. They want to make it work. And they fight hard to make it work, because they're just like, we can't go out. Right? What if you want to go another route? She wants a big family. They do fall in love. The middle of the movie is them getting married, but she can't have kids. Maybe she can, but he can't. His seeds don't work. Or maybe the other way around. Like, there's no wrong answer. You could just do whatever. You could go as crazy as she's been in a coma, and this is all in her head, to they have a great life, but they're both, for some reason, they have bad luck when they go out on dates. Like, it could be anything. Number 5. This is definitely one of my favorites. Time management. Believe it or not, inconsistent writing routines will contribute to writer's block. Effective time management can establish a discipline when it comes to writing. So set aside dedicated writing periods and stick to them as faithfully as you can. And this consistency will create the habit. And I will say this. I, again, will write a minimum of 60 minutes to a maximum of 2 hours each day, 7 days a week. That writing doesn't necessarily mean that I am just writing prose and writing my novelization of stories, and that also includes my outline work. That includes me brainstorming. That includes me writing out ideas, even if they're just random. Like, oh, it'd be interesting. A guy finds out his whole life that he's a twin, and the twin is controlling his body. But because he grew up that way and he has the mind, right? He never really connected the two, but it turns out his whole life, he's only been the brain, and the twin was the body. Okay, let's write that down. Right? Like, it's a crazy idea. Who cares? Like, I would write that stuff, and I would just be like, where can I go with that? Okay, is it possible? It's fiction. Aliens come down and Will Smith saves the day. Fiction. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was in the army and drove tanks, stops the predator. Fiction. Sci-fi. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest. I love Ripley, but Sigourney Weaver, she's not killing an alien. She needs a latte and her union rates. All right, so it's all fake. You can do whatever you want, whatever you want. But with that said, I like to take my writing time, and it's dedicated every day. I do it at the same time every day, and I don't necessarily use it to write the novelization. However, that is one thing I do, but it's just writing time. I don't go beyond that time. I try to, Sometimes if I have a deadline, I might take a break after the 1 hour or 2 hour. Take a break, do something different for like an hour or even 2 hours, and then come back and do another hour or 2 hours if I have deadlines. But I'll never write more than 2 hours in a time block, because my brain, I know that I won't get, for me, I know I won't get the quality that I want. Now, keep in mind, these 5 tips, these are just strategies and not the only strategies for you to try and see what happens, because not everybody's different. So basically experiment with these techniques and see what works for you. Well, Thomas, what happens when tips don't work? That's a good question. Let's say you gave all 5 tips a shot, but nothing happened, right? I wouldn't worry too much, because this is where the real art of overcoming writer's block comes into play. Think of these 3 things. Okay, the first one is self-reflection. When conventional methods falter, it's time to look inward, because self-reflection is a powerful tool. And you got to take a step back and assess your writing process. Are there reoccurring patterns? Are there things keeping you held back? Do you feel that there are certain triggers that create the writer's block for you? You want to identify these factors and try to think about them, because then it'll lead to breakthroughs. It could potentially help you with your own personal writer's block. Perhaps it is perfectionism or fear of failure or the unrealistic expectations that need addressing. The point is, you not being able to write because of writer's block does not make you a bad writer. But more importantly, all right, you have to look at yourself and realize writing is difficult. No matter how amazing you are, writing is hard. You're coming up with something that doesn't exist. So if it takes you a little longer, or your brain is trying to wrap your head around a twin being the brain around the other twin controlling the body, that's going to take a minute. So it's okay. But the self-reflection is to realize that having writer's block does not mean you're bad. It does not mean you're wrong. It does not mean you should stop. Number 2, experimentation. Writer's block is a puzzle, and you have to be the detective. All right? It's the perfect time to really experiment when you find yourself not being able to break through that writer's block. This is, why don't we try different times, different locations, different techniques? Why don't you brainstorm your idea with another person? I know when I work in writers' rooms, that's my favorite part about being a head writer, is you're surrounded by other writers. Your job is to maintain fluidity in the narrative and to make sure that the show, obviously if you're writing a show about real life and somebody's like aliens, you're like, great idea, but that doesn't work for our show. You know what I'm saying? That's like the head writer's job. It's a little more complicated than that, but ultimately you're trying to keep everybody on par. But if you're having writer's block, that's the best part about having people to shoot ideas off with, because you might have one little idea or no ideas, but talking with someone will help you kind of develop it, because you're not writing at that point. You're just riffing. Okay. Another thing though is with the experimentation element, Try new genres or formats or mediums. Um, I started in comic books, and then I went to lyrics. I became a lyricist, which turned into poetry. But the lyrics, like I started getting paid for lyrics. I started writing my own lyrics. I had a band, and blah blah blah. Then it turned into poetry. Then poetry became philosophy, and then I started really working on like my thoughts, not necessarily in a diary, but I wanted to explore how I felt through words. Wasn't necessarily, they were long form prose, but in the style of story. Like I was telling the story of the emotion. Um, I had like a purpose to it. I was trying to create a narrative. It wasn't just me going, today I found myself. No, like I would try third person. I would try first person. I would even try second person. Um, so, which is you enter the room. Um, so that really helped me. And I tried so many different genres and formats, including writing scripts for television, writing scripts for movies, writing scripts for theater, uh, writing film. They're all different. And then I started, there's novels. There's I wrote joke. I was a comedian. I'm still technically a comedian. Tons of jokes. But I wrote comic jokes for other people. I edited jokes for other people. I started teaching writing because that really helped me understand writing even more. And the reason was because I knew writing. I understood writing. Writing was my life. But now I had to simplify it, which is why I started this YouTube a year and some many moons ago, because I love talking about writing. And the more I talk about it, the more I start understanding it further than I have to, because I have to put it into layman's terms. And sometimes I pontificate and I go off and I'm me. Um, but ultimately, experiment. Let yourself try things that are outside if you like writing romance, try fantasy. If you like writing fantasy, try thrillers. You know. Anyway, number 3. Seek unconventional solutions. The writing process is deeply personal, and what works for one person may not work for another. So be open to unconventional solutions. This might include meditation, physical exercise, creative exercises unrelated to your project, or even talking to a friend about struggles. Sometimes unblocking your creativity means stepping away from the page for a while. And I do this when I first start coming up with ideas, like while I'm showering, or if I'm like working, like not working, doing chores like errands, or if I'm vacuuming or doing the dishes, I just let my brain kind of just go anywhere. I don't, I think about my life, I think about people, I think about conversations, I think about stories I read. Sometimes if I'm watching a show, that'll inspire me to come up with an idea that has nothing to do with that show, but there's like one emotional truth to a scene, and my brain is like, what if it went that way? Which is she's in a coma and everything's a dream. Like that would be an example of me like watching a regular show, like a Jane the Virgin, and then be like, well, no, that show goes all over the place, which is great. Or watching Friends, and then there's like one little emotion. I'm like, what if? Because there's a really funny TikTok out there. It's like Ross from Friends without a soundtrack, or without a laugh track, and he looks like a creepy, scary guy, right? The way it plays out. That's taking an idea and just right. But obviously, anything, anywhere, it doesn't matter. Just let it rip. But remember, overcoming writer's block is a personal journey. So you got to find what works for you. And the more you learn, and the more you try, and the more you discover with different toolkits or strategies, you'll eventually find what works for you uniquely. And to reiterate, writer's block is not a sign of weakness or a lack of talent. It's a challenge that can be overcome with persistence and creativity. So keep that in mind, because even the most celebrated authors face writer's block at some point, at some time. It's not a universal trying. It's not the universe trying to persuade you to give up. It's a it, it's a test of your dedication and resourcefulness as a writer. So by embracing the journey, exploring different strategies, and understanding your own creative process, you can conquer that writer's block and continue your writing adventure. Final thoughts. Embrace your creative journey. It's crucial to embrace your creative journey wholeheartedly, because remember, every writer, regardless of experience, encounters writer block at some junction. It's not a badge of failure, but rather an opportunity for profound growth. I used to experience writer's block often, especially in my youth, to my 20s, some in my 30s. Now I'm in my 40s. I don't really experience writer's block like a traditional writer does. I haven't in a long time, and I worked hard on that though. It's like riding a bike. You don't start with wheelies. I mean, you could try. Or even when I used to skateboard for a very short time, so my friend broke his arm, and I was like, "Nah, this is not for me." But anyway, writer's block is like a crucible that tests your mettle as a writer. It challenges you to explore the depths of your creativity and discover innovative solutions. The struggles you face today can forge you into a more resilient and skillful writer of tomorrow. Always keep that mind. Keep that in mind when your words falter, because as you discover the words that work for you, it becomes an immense power. Words have the capacity to shape entire worlds, provoke profound thoughts, and touch the hearts of readers. So don't let writer's block shackle your potential. Keep writing fearlessly, even if it's not the work you're trying to get out. Just get yourself writing to write. Just saying. Next video. In the next video, we'll focus on the benefits of accountability partners. The benefit of accountability partners for writing. And basically what that means is that we'll delve into the incredible benefits of having an accountability partner for our writing. It allows us to really say to ourselves, hey, keep me writing, did you do your pages today? Did you work your hour today? So we'll talk about like the benefits of that. Question: what's your most effective strategy for overcoming writer's block? Share your insight in the comments below. It's good to learn from each other. Anyway, if you haven't already and you really like what you've been watching, please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out. And as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.